Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome
It's
back.
Chris and Jack with another episode of the Blue Jay Way podcast. And
Yep.
today we are going to be going over the three-game series that the Blue Jays just wrapped up with the Detroit Tigers, the home opening series for the Blue Jays, where they
hmm
took two of three. They had an opportunity for the sweep, but Jack, it is tough to sweep any team.
Yep,
I
it
would say
is.
it's not easy. And yeah, it's tough to win three games against the same team, unless you're the Tampa Bay Rays, uh, who are coming into the Rogers Center now with a 13-0 record to start the year, which is a little absurd. But we
Yep.
will talk much more about that down the line here.
hmm
But yeah, it's tough to sweep teams. The Jays took two out of three. They, I thought it was a solid series. The offense kind of dried up a little bit in game three. But
Yep.
we got a walk off. We got a home opener.
Mhm.
Uh, we saw the new ballpark. So all in all, I'd say it was pretty good. Jack, anything overall you wanted to say about the series before we go game by game?
Honestly, man, I'm good with the outcome. 2 out of 3. That's their third straight series win. Good way to start the year, 8-5. This division's the toughest there is in baseball. It's not even up for debate. The Rays, like we talked about, they're just on another planet right now. There's no explanation as to how they're doing what they're doing. They're just going out there and doing it. So, um, you know, 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. I would have liked to see a sweep, but hey, it's still early on in the season. New guys coming into the clubhouse, new guys coming into the lineup. It's going to take a little bit more time for them to get properly acquainted with each other, but all things are looking up, in my opinion. So let's just get right into game one.
Yeah, game one, the home opener,
Mm-hmm.
the unveiling of the ballpark, which looks really nice.
Yes, it does.
We kind of talked about it a bit last episode too, but like you were saying, it does look a lot more like a ballpark
Mm-hmm.
rather than just kind of a generic stadium, which is awesome. Looks like there's a lot of cool different areas and spaces you can look, you can go hang out at, and the seats by the bullpen is pretty funny. I mean, there was an incident with a fan screaming in the face of a Tigers reliever, but
uh,
you
that
know,
was that was fine, man. Honestly, like
I mean,
I saw people getting upset about that, saying like, "Oh, be respectful and whatever." Yeah, be
that
respectful,
probably wouldn't
but
be me. I
no,
wouldn't
I
I wouldn't
wouldn't.
condone that.
No.
But I mean, the league signed off on having the bullpens that close. I don't know what else you'd really expect.
I mean, it's like that at Fenway. It's like that at Yankee Stadium. Like,
Yeah,
it's like that everywhere, pretty much. Like you
yeah,
can,
but I would just say you could maybe throw some chirps around, some friendly banter, but I wouldn't get in a guy's face as he's going in the game and scream
no.
at him. Anyways, um, enough of that. Some cool stuff before the game in the home opener too. Fred McGriff getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. Blue
Yep.
Jays. I would say a very solid Blue Jay
hmm
um, from the past. A legendary Blue Jay there to throw at the first pitch.
The crime dog.
One of two cool first pitches that we had in this series.
It's true.
Um, and then a couple of awards were handed out. Vlad got his Gold Glove. Kirk got his Silver Slugger for the catcher
hmm
position, and Romano was given the Tip O'Neill Award, which is a Canadian award, right?
Most outstanding Canadian MLB player. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Which I mean, that's a big deal in and of itself. You got pretty stiff competition. Tyler O'Neill's a good player.
hmm
Joey Votto, yeah, he was injured, but
hmm
still, like if those guys are healthy and having good seasons, the fact that Romano is one of
yeah,
the best
and
closers in baseball.
Vlad's eligible, I think, for that award too.
Technically, he
Yeah,
is
he won it.
Canadian. Actually,
Didn't
he
he
did win
win?
it 2021, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah, he
and he
did.
won it a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
So yeah, a couple of get all the festivities going. There was jam packed, 40,000 plus, all
hmm
fired up. Alek Manoah takes the mound, and we'll get more into him after we talk about the moment of this game, which happened in the second inning. Um, and
Jesus.
just looking at the dimensions of the field, especially in
Yeah,
center field with that 8 foot wall, I don't
yeah.
think this is going to be the last time we see this.
No.
I I can actually believe that Kevin Kiermaier is going to be out there in center field, and he's not going to make a handful of plays like this
No.
with that wall.
No.
Because Kerry Carpenter hits a ball hard to straight center field, and Kevin Kiermaier, I don't know how he did it, because
I
it
don't
didn't
know.
look like he necessarily was all that comfortable throughout this catch.
No,
Um,
it
like
looked
it
awkward.
looked like he almost jumped too early, and he kind of had to
Mhm.
hang up in the air. But man, this guy's athletic, and he makes a home run, saving catch, an incredible leaping grab, bringing the ball back over the wall. Jack,
Mhm.
what were you thinking when you saw that play?
I was thinking, holy shit, holy shit. I can't believe I just saw with my own eyes that just happened.
Yeah,
Like, and the funny thing was too, is that he was talking, I think, either with Hazel or just the regular Sportsnet media crew. He said, I continue, I've robbed a few home runs in my life here. Wouldn't mind robbing a few more. And then first chance he gets at the new dimension, he just goes out and does it. And I just love,
that wall, dude, that wall.
yeah.
There's going to be a couple balls brought back, whether it's him
Oh,
or
yeah.
opposing teams. Like that wall, you can get up there, you can
Hmm.
hang off it, and you can bring some balls.
It's definitely easier now with the lowering of the wall from 10 feet to 8 feet. But again, you have to be extremely well timed and skilled to be able to
All right.
make that grab. Like it's not going to be, it doesn't like, it makes it easier, but by no means is it easy by any
No,
definition.
no.
So, and I also loved Bo Bichette's reaction. He saw
Yeah.
KK come back down with it and he was like, what?
I know. I mean,
Even
yeah,
everyone in the ballpark was just dumbfounded. Even Shulman in the booth was dumbfounded with that.
yeah. No, that was incredible. I remember seeing like clips of him making plays on the Rays and the pitchers on the mound mouthing like
Yeah.
I remember seeing a couple of those, and yeah, it's pretty nice to have a guy like that out patrolling center field.
Yeah.
It's a nice security blanket, and with that wall out there, I do not think this is going to be the last time we see
Absolutely
Kevin
not.
Kiermaier rob a home run. So let's get into Manoah now in this opening start, because he didn't have his best stuff. Velocity was down quite a bit, which I've seen some people say is quite concerning.
Hmm.
I don't think it's anything Manoah can't, um, you know, work on and can't fix
Hmm.
pretty soon here.
I
Um,
mean, yeah.
yeah. Walked a lot of guys, 5 guys, and gave up one big swing of the bat to Nick Maton, who actually had quite a good series overall.
Yeah.
But Maton hits one out to right. The first home run in the new Rogers Center comes from the opponent, silences the crowd. But Jack, on Manoah, are you worried about the velocity? Do you think are you seeing anything in particular that you think would lead to him having a rough start? I was listening to Kevin Barker on Blair and Barker. He got into it a little, quite technically.
Yeah.
So we can go over that. But is there anything you're just kind of seeing that's leading to maybe him scuffling a bit?
I believe you and I listened to the same thing that Barker talked about. Yeah, they were talking to John Schneider. They had him on Blair and Barker on their radio show on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Shout out to the boys. But he brought up a good point with Schneider. He said, because Alec in the past is a guy who, he likes to rub up the ball, walk around the back of the mound, kind of get himself reorganized and regrouped. He doesn't have that option with the pitch clock, so that's definitely an adjustment for him this year. That's probably somewhat of a contribution to the reason for his early on struggles. Also, it could be a number of things. Like I said last episode, him and Barrios are having the same problem. And we've always seen Manoah when he lands on his landing foot, sometimes his foot slips out on the mound and the ball goes not exactly where you want, and he'll come back and like kick the dirt away and try and readjust it and whatever. But as far as landing goes, I think he needs to land more towards home plate rather than falling away from home plate. So
yeah, he's been doing that for as long as I can remember, slipping on the mound. It seems like once a start. But he is a big boy, and the thing that I heard from Barker, a reason why the velocity could be down is that he's not really getting into his legs as much. And I mean, I never pitched. I don't know, but this is just kind of what a baseball player, a former baseball player, was saying, and it made sense to me. Is that he's finishing his delivery standing upright, he's not really getting into his legs as much. That could just be an early season thing.
Yeah.
So, if you lose some explosiveness, it's not, I don't think, a chronic thing. I don't think it's a thing that's going to last forever.
No.
But yeah, I just think that, some confidence, stringing some good starts together as well will do wonders for him. And I mean, he's a guy he's got a lot of movement on his pitches.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't need to throw 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He really
doesn't. He doesn't have to throw. I think what we saw last year is he could give you 95, 96 when he needed it.
Mm-hmm.
But he definitely wouldn't kind of average at that number, but he could surprise guys. And that was the thing too that I found with Manoah when he was super successful, is his fastball had a little jump to it. It had a little, sneaky kind of speed coming out the hand. It didn't maybe register on the gun to be that high, but when he was, making guys swing and miss at a 92-mile-an-hour sinker, it probably looked a lot faster to the hitter than it actually was because of the movement, because of his delivery. So I just think it's more of a mechanical thing. I don't think it's really like a to anything
long-term problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's a long-term problem, or it's anything to do with his like his. I've heard people say he looks bigger this year, and that's why. I don't think that's the case.
No. Also, I don't think he is bigger. I'm pretty sure he dropped like 10 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think that he. I don't think that's an issue. I just think that he isn't maybe feeling as comfortable as he has in the past with his mechanics. It might just feel a little off, and he'll have to work on it. But we've seen from Manoah, he's great at adjusting even within a game. So I'm sure him and Pete Walker and the staff are going to figure it out, because he's taking on the Rays on Sunday, the series finale. So that's going to be a test from him, but also an opportunity. Okay. Anything else from game one? Well, actually, we haven't even gotten really into the offensive explosion that happened in game one. The Jays hit 5 home runs in this game. It's the most in a home opener in franchise history. Chapman, Kirk, Springer, Belt. Who am I missing?
Home runs?
Yeah.
It wasn't Belt. Kiermaier. It was
not
Kiermaier.
Belt, sorry.
Bell had 3 hits though, so that's That's huge. Because we were ragging on him, and a lot of people were ragging on him. When is this guy going to get his head together? When is he going to start hitting?
He had an okay series. He had a double in game 3.
He had 2 doubles all series, and I think 5 hits overall.
Yeah,
which not bad. I'll take that. If he's going to be in the 6th spot or 7th spot, and he's putting up those kind of hit numbers, that's fine with me. But as far as the home runs go, pretty sure it went.
I missed Bo.
Bo had 1. Springer and Kiermaier went back to back. Kirk had 1, and Chapman had 1.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I forgot Kiermaier and Bo. That Kiermaier home run after the catch was pretty electric too. The offense, stayed hot after that good offensive series in Anaheim, and Tigers pitching staff, after kind of holding it down for a little bit there, the bullpen got rocked. It was a good night all around. I mean, the back-to-backs with Springer and Kiermaier were electric.
Kiermaier didn't even get a chance to finish celebrating in the dugout before Springer hit it out. He's literally like going around giving the guys hugs, and he's like, "Oh!"
And then Kirk. It was good to see Kirk getting his first of the season too after a bit of a slow start.
Dude, he rocked that baseball too. Just pulled it and just knew it too. He's like,
right into that new little standing porch area. You gotta have to keep your head on a swivel when you're standing out there. Balls can come down there quickly. Okay, game 2. I see in the notes here you pumped my tires a little bit.
Buddy, you were nearly spot on with your prediction.
You don't have to say that my prediction. You just have to credit Kevin Gausman.
No, I'm crediting you because you called it very, very close. You were like,
but I'm just going off the fact that Gausman is just consistently elite on the mound.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah. So the Jays actually made this one pretty interesting. Yep. But first we'll start with the great performance from Kevin Gausman. I mean, this guy's splitter.
Chris, he had 11 strikeouts.
It's my favorite pitch. It's my favorite pitch of all time.
11 strikeouts. 10 of them were on the splitter. That's nuts. That's
Like I've never seen personally on like the Blue Jays a more unhittable pitch, like just a more dominant. Like they all know it's coming
I'm trying to think if there's another.
at some point. And the thing I love with Gossman too is he's gonna like he throws like 94 fastballs right down the middle.
I know.
And just nobody like that. Like, it's very rare that guys swing at it.
Because the splitter's living rent free in every single one of their heads. That's it.
Yeah. So Kevin Gossman, 8 innings, which was quite a lengthy outing. I think it tied his longest outing with the Blue Jays.
Mhm.
I think he had an 8 inning start last year against Tampa.
Yes, he did. I believe so.
Yeah, but it was a classic Kevin Gossman start. Clinical, just dicing up the Tigers lineup. Did give up 3 runs. Did give up a couple of bombs. Nick Maton again. This guy had quite a good series.
Who Tigers got in that? They got that kid Maton for the Gregory Soto trade, right? Yeah, from the Phillies.
I think it was just they guessed right on a couple of fastballs. Gossman's fastball isn't overpowering if guys guess right and are ready for it, and it's in the sweet spot. You can any pitcher can give up a home run against any team. So the Jays fell behind, and then really had to rally back late in this game. But before we get to that, Jack, anything you want to say on Gossman? Anything you want to wrap up? Thank God we have him.
Thank God we have him, because I feel like this team would be in shambles as far as starting rotation wise. Like I said last episode, he's been holding the fort. He's been holding down the fort the entire time. Like he's been the reason why the starting rotation hasn't been far worse than the first couple series that we've seen them in. But to be said, Bassett has looked increasingly better in his last 2 outings. So
yes,
we'll get to that again.
Do you think it would have been? Were you thinking Manoah should have been the opening day starter through and through? No.
I love the confidence vote from the boys in Manoah, but after that first start in St. Louis, you kind of, in my opinion, you got that off day, you just flip-flop the 2. That's what I would have done, because Gossman, like, he deserved the win, and he didn't get it. He had the no decision. It was a quality start, but no decision because the Jays were trailing when he came off the mound in favor of who I believe it was Meza came in after he did. So Gossman, is 0-2 or 0-1 on the season when he should be like 2-1.
Yes, and then so this is actually something that I want to talk about, because I truly believe that last year's team doesn't win this game because of a couple of things that they did late in this game. So we headed to the 9th. The Jays were down 3-1.
3-1. Yep.
Yeah, 3-1. This poor kid, this poor reliever from the Tigers, he came in, he could not find the zone.
What was his name? Wengren?
Yeah,
something like Wingren. I'll find it here.
This poor guy, he could not find the zone. 2 walks, hits Varsho, bases loaded, nobody out. He gets taken out of the game, and then this is when the small ball Blue Jays took over, and it was it was nice to see. It's a nice change of pace. I mean,
Trey Winginter, that's his name.
Yes,
or Trey Winginter.
Yes, you want to be a team, I would say, that can be can win games in multiple different ways, and I think this Blue Jays team can do that exactly. They can win games in a multitude of different ways. This game, they just manufactured runs with the bases loaded. Whit Merrifield, good at bat, sac fly, and then they brought in Alejandro Kirk, which I thought was a little interesting with a runner at first, because if he
incredibly ballsy in my opinion.
If he hits a ball on the ground, the game's over.
It's over.
But Kirk is probably one of the more trusted situational guys in the fact that he can handle the bat. He can always have a good at bat. Selective with what pitches he wants to swing at, and he looped another fly ball out into the outfield, another sac fly, so we were tied at 3 heading into the 10th.
Did you see Chapman though when on that sac fly? He had the Tom Cruise like karate chop hands, just chugging down third baseline. I was like, oh my god, this guy is flying, dude.
Yeah, No, he wanted it. And
Yeah.
I don't even think there was a throw. There was a play at the plate. So the hustle paid off.
Yep.
So then we get to the 10th. Uh, remind me, who pitched to the top of the 10th? It was Romano.
Romano.
So
Yeah,
Romano
he came
shut
in.
it down.
Mhm. No,
So
he
that
came
was
in because
awesome.
Mesa, I think, gave up a couple base runners and they were threatening with one out. And I think there was a runner on first and third. And then I think, if I remember correctly, this is the play we were going to talk about Javi Baez and his lack of effort this series, because
Oh yeah.
there was a play where a deep fly ball or kind of mid-depth hit to right field.
You're
to
not
Springer.
gonna go on that.
He didn't even move,
But,
man.
yeah, but you
Didn't
could
bend his
at least,
knees,
like
didn't do anything.
bluff a start or like
Yeah,
be
well, what
in
if
an athletic position in case Springer airmails the catcher or something like that.
what if he does? And then you're just like, oh well, crap. I'm flat-footed.
That was the first of a couple of Javi Baez moments in the
Strike
series.
one.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in game 3 because I actually really want to talk about that and how
that'll be our focus point because game 3 was incredibly uneventful compared to game 1 and 2.
well,
so.
we'll go over Bassett a bit.
Yeah,
But
of course.
other than that, I mean, man, how hard Javi Baez has fallen off. I don't know if it's just he's not motivated because he's on a bad team.
Well, he got his money.
Yeah, he got his money. But man, you're a professional. I don't know who you're trying to send a message to or what you're trying to do, but
I hear an ironic part of this.
A good look on that potential sack fly.
You want to hear the ironic part in all this, Chris?
What?
Guess who his brother-in-law is?
I know.
Jose freaking Barrios. They both got their money and just
tough stretch for the in-laws.
For the
anyways, and then this was quite a funny walk-off in game 2 because it was like the weakest hits, like just kind of, I don't know. It's
set up though by the most picture perfect sack bunt down the third base line that I have ever witnessed. Kevin Kiermaier does it all, man. That guy, and they were talking about it. I heard Bucky was like, yeah, he's sack bunted before in the past, but he hasn't done it over in a couple of years. And then right net, perfect.
Yeah,
and then it gets
over. Yeah, moving the runner over, and the George Springer hits. I wonder if we have stats on walk-off hits. If we have StatCast on all the walk-off hits, because this might have been the
weakest,
the weakest hit walk-off. It was like a 3-hopper or perfectly placed through the infielders, but don't complain. George Springer walks off the Tigers 4-3 after Detroit can't close it out in the 9th. It was the Jays' 6th come from behind win already of the season.
Leads the majors,
which is either a really good thing or a really bad thing. I don't know.
I'd rather win by 15 runs and then never find yourself in that position.
But
again, if they can do it,
it does show that the Jays can hit in crunch time. They can hit when it matters most.
Mm-hmm.
They've been good this season from the 7th inning on, and that has contributed to a lot of these comeback wins. And in the opening series, the faithful gets a walk-off to celebrate. I saw some empty seats.
Yeah.
The 9th, guys, what are we doing? If we've learned
fans,
this team recently, it's that you can't leave these games, guys. You can't leave these games.
Oh, it's over after we're down by 2 runs. It's like, well, if you actually know the team, they're literally one of their nicknames is Never Say Die Blue Jays. So,
but if we're talking about games you could leave, game 3 was that game.
Yeah,
it was as we said, it's very hard to sweep teams in the major leagues. It's tough to win 3 games in a row against the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jays lost 3-1 in game 3.
Matt Chapman was out with a viral infection.
Yeah, and you could tell.
I am worried about. I'm worried about this, Chris.
He'll be back.
I'm not saying he won't be back within the next 2 days. My only worry is this what's going to cause him to come back down to earth?
Yeah, is he going to throw him out of rhythm?
Not being in the lineup, feeling like shit. Then all of a sudden, he comes up to the plate. He's lethargic. His swings, his bat speed's down a couple miles an hour, and then goes from hitting 450 to, knock on wood. Hopefully, it has nothing. It causes no cause for concern. But I hope it's not what does it, because that would really suck.
We'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There's no real answer to that now. I want to think that, he can get through it and keep his mechanics in order and keep doing what he's doing,
Yep.
hitting the ball hard. But we'll have to see when he returns. Hopefully it's tonight, Friday night, against the Rays.
They need him. They need him.
They do. Drew Rasmussen. It's going to be tough. They might have to score 15 runs too with who's pitching, but we'll see. And then let's go over Bassett a bit because I thought he early on, especially in the start, he looked good. He really looked like he had the Tigers off balance. And when you throw 8 pitches in a start, you should have the other team off balance. But he went 6 innings, just gave up 2 runs, 7 strikeouts, and 3 walks. It looks like kind of start by start here, he's getting more comfortable. He's getting more comfortable with the pitch calm with Kirk.
I like that he's calling his own game too.
Yeah, I like it too. I just kind of find it a bit weird that he's like staring at the buttons every time. I mean, I guess
8 pitches though.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened. You see other guys, they can do it without looking, but they don't have nearly as much to work with. So a solid start from Bassett, but the offense really, really, really went quiet. Vlad had the lone RBI, great piece of hitting there, just taking it right back up the middle, driving in a runner for third. Nick Maton, though, had another big hit, another big double. Not Kerry Carpenter. Jake Rogers had an RBI double to make
that pitch was from Bass was that was a BP pitch.
Yeah, it was a hanger.
Yeah. 84 at the top of the zone slider. Like that's either anyone I could have hit that.
Yeah. I mean, you make mistakes. Major league hitters are gonna make you pay. And the Jays couldn't replicate their nice walk off from the night before. Couldn't replicate a comeback. So they take 2 out of 3, 8-5 after the series overall record. Not bad. They are level with the Yankees.
I mean, it could have been. Yeah, they could have been the Yankees last night and got bitch slapped by the Twins, 11-2.
Yeah, shout out Edward Julian.
Oh yeah, Canada's finest.
Yeah,
that was a sweet swing,
first
man.
Game, first home run in the first inning. That's pretty cool. So maybe now we can go over Baez because.
Oh God, yeah.
I thought this was fascinating for all the wrong reasons. This is one of my least favorite things in baseball is when guys
forget how many outs there are.
Balls. No, one guy. So the first thing that started this whole thing is that he hit a ball and he pimped it.
Oh, that's right.
And it hit the wall. Like, guys, if you're gonna pimp a ball, it better be
450 feet.
Yeah, if I'm like I get bat flipping, I get all that stuff, but like I feel like at that point you've played enough baseball,
Yeah.
Like if you don't 100% know, you can't pimp a ball. No. It just makes you look like an absolute fool, and it probably makes everyone in your own dugout absolutely hate you.
Well, if you take a look at AJ Hinch, the manager of the Tigers' face, progressively through that inning, it gets more and more like.
Yeah.
Like, I'm annoyed I'm going to rip your throat out.
Yeah, and I mean, he still ended up at second, but just the optics of everything was just not good. And then he's on second with 1 out. I don't know what I don't know what he's doing. But it's a liner to the outfield.
Yeah, Akil Baddoo at the plate, I think.
He kind of lazily jogs to third, completely forgetting how many outs there are, and easily just gets thrown out at second. And then Hinch pulls him down into the tunnel. Classy move. Didn't do it on camera. Probably laid into him and took him out of the game.
Good.
I just think, I'm glad that the Blue Jays, you never see a player on the Jays do something like that. I mean, unless it was an honest mistake. I think they've got these guys drilled into, we're a team, we're going to play the right way, we're fundamentally sound. This stuff's not going to happen.
I could see something like that happening last year with the roster we had compared to this year. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I'm going to, because we saw Teoscar pimp a lot of balls that didn't get out of the ballpark, and then he would end up either out at second by half a step or barely got in there.
Yeah, or just kind of lazily making plays in the outfield.
Yeah,
But anyways, that's Teoscar is a member of the Mariners now.
not our problem.
That is not, yeah, that's not really something that is, I completely get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But man, I just remember Baez playing with so much heart, playing with so much intensity back on the Cubs,
Yeah.
giving his all every game. And to see him now, it's a little upsetting. I mean, I was a big fan of his,
Yeah.
and I just don't know if he's not motivated because the team's not going anywhere, if he's not motivated because he got paid. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see if anything more develops, or hopefully he just starts playing harder. Because when he does that, he can be an effective player. I mean, he's not the hitter he used to be.
Mhm. Well,
But
I
if
mean,
running the bases, he can still be a threat, and
yep.
in field he's still an elite shortstop defensively.
Mhm.
So I just thought that was that was probably the most interesting thing in this game,
Yeah.
Blue Jays wise or Tigers wise, because the Blue Jays didn't do much.
Yeah, it wasn't very eventful. Tigers got up early lead. Jays didn't really have any answers for them, but yeah, definitely story of the game is lack of effort from Javier Baez, and I commend AJ Hinch for handling it the way he did,
Yeah,
not blowing up at him in the dugout, i.e. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr. style. I know it's not his manager, but there's a better way to do that. You walk with your buddy down to the clubhouse, away from the cameras, away from microphones.
yeah,
AJ Hinch, I still have a bit of resentment towards him for being a part of the 2017 Astros scandal. But hey, his punishment is now as the manager of the Detroit Tigers. So
yeah,
he got his comeuppance.
yeah. And as well, I think a cool moment too in this game was before the game, Miguel Cabrera played his final game
At the Rogers Center.
yeah, at the Rogers Center.
Yeah.
He got gifted a cool little, I think, collage of pictures framed with his going back to his 500th home run
That he hit.
in
I was at that
Toronto.
game,
We were
actually.
at that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really cool that Victor Martinez, his former longtime teammate, who's now with the Jays, was out there, and Vladdy was out there as well.
Yeah.
To kind of give him that gift. An absolute legend. I've told this story before. I think I've told you, Jack, but back in like 2013, my parents were like, let's go to a Jays game this summer. Just, pick the team you want to see. And I pretty much immediately was like, I want to see the Tigers because they have the best player in the game
world
right now.
That was also what they had Verlander and Scherzer on the team.
Yeah, they were an incredible team.
Yeah.
At that time. I think they went to the World Series either the year before or that season.
2012, they lost to the Giants.
I think they were coming off of their World Series appearance. And yeah, they were quite the powerhouse. And Cabrera had godly numbers that year. I remember that was like, I think it was a couple weeks before the All-Star break. He had like 86 RBI and like 28 home runs. And he hit a home run in that game. So I got what I wanted to see. That was pretty cool. And then also Pedro Martinez threw out the first pitch in game 2 to his godson, Vladdy, which it was nice to see Pedro back in Canada. Of course, he was with the Expos for a bit after he got traded from the Dodgers. So that was pretty cool as well. Some good stuff, some good guests for the opening series. And now the Jays are going to be looking at a big time challenge in taking on the Tampa Bay Rays.
This series, I think, could so severely impact the rest of the year, because if Tampa takes 2
out of 3, they're 6 games up.
They're 6 games up, and they're 15-1. They would have to lose 14 straight games to be a 500 ball club. That is nuts.
Yeah, I think it's like if they play like 10 games under 500 for the rest of the year, they still have like 93 wins. Like, why is this division like this?
Why are they like this? Why are they the second poorest franchise in baseball? And they do this every year.
It's these.
It's these?
It's the arms.
The arms. Yeah.
It's the arms.
They find these guys, man. They pull them out of the woodwork.
And they are very, very good at identifying players in other organizations that they can trade for, with certain things that they like. I think of Jose Siri as a good example.
Yeah.
speed, defense. Identified that, and his bat has even come around a bit too.
Well, do you remember the fleece job they pulled on the Pirates like 6 years ago? Yeah. Oh,
Austin Meadows.
They got Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and a player to be named later. Guess who the player to be named later was? Shane Baz. Who do they send the other way? Chris Archer.
Who just comes back. I know.
What can you do with that? It doesn't matter. You know what? It's not our problem. Our problem.
Their front office needs to be commended. They do a really good job with the limited resources that they have. So it's gonna be a fiery series. There's a lot on the line. The Rays are going for history. No team has ever started
14-0
ever started a season 14-0. But I think the Blue Jays do pose the Rays their biggest threat of the season to lose a game.
And the pressure's on the Rays. It's not on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Like realistically, what do the Jays have to prove tonight?
You could look at it either side. The Blue Jays could have some pressure because this team is, the cream of the crop. This team is the team that everyone's looking at right now, and it's your job to beat them.
Yeah. They're financially David, but they're on the field Goliath. It's so weird, man.
Yeah, they're just
so weird.
A good fundamental team with some great pitching.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're running out of time here.
See how it goes. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But Jack, any closing statements? Any last things about the Detroit Tigers series?
It just that I'm happy with the outcome. Chris Bassett and Kevin Gausman look like they're right where they need to be. Manoah still has some work to do, but I have the utmost faith that he's going to figure it out within the next 2 weeks. Folks, if the Jays are down by a couple runs and it's going in the 9th inning, don't leave. Stay for the game. I know some of you want to beat the traffic or beat the GO train problems at Union, but man, you bought the ticket. Just stay and watch. Be a fan. Enjoy your time. Have another beer. Screw it. Why not? Get funky.
For sure.
Also, we just got 4 new subs on the YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown us so far. And again, if you like the pod, send it, share it with a friend who also likes baseball, or share it with someone who doesn't like baseball. Maybe we'll get them into the Blue Jays. Most recent video will be popping up on the screen, and a link to the channel as well. So everything's coming through nicely for us here, Chris. I'm very thankful for all the hard work you put into the podcast and all the hard work that leads to us having a good show every 2 or 3 days now. So thank you. Thanks to everybody. That's it for me.
Yeah, man. Well said, man. Thanks to you as well. This has been, another edition of the Blue Jay Way podcast. We'll be back to recap this really interesting series against the high-flying Tampa Bay Rays. So until then, you guys out there, be well, enjoy the games this weekend, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.
Take it easy, folks.